Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Morpheus Dawson and today we will be talking about Lilith. So today we will be discussing her origins, her work in the modern black magical and left-hand path traditions, and how we can call on her, and various misconceptions that we have about her, even with Satanism. So let's start this video. So before we go any further, I have started a Patreon. So if you guys could support me there, that would be really great. I am planning on posting every single week a special video that I'm only posting on Patreon, and a lot of hidden materials written that I have in my Book of Shadows but I have never published on any of my other sites. So that's where you can find most of my things. So right after this video, in about 24 hours, I will be uploading my chants to Lilith and invocation rituals that I have created and I've gotten from her, the sigils that I've gotten throughout my Qliphothic path working. And when I met her in Gamaliel, those were the things that she told me about her, and those were the things that I got. So let's start this. Who is Lilith then? Lilith in modern left-hand path Satanism can be defined as the mother figure that we have for most of our magical purposes. In almost all other traditions before left-hand path, before even Christianity and Judaism, there were every single pagan religions which had a male deity and a female deity. Lilith herself is a really old entity. We find references to her as Lilithtu and Qliphoth, although many people claim that Qliphoth is another entity, and various logists are also debating on the connection between the old Mesopotamian deity and modern Lilith. So in old Mesopotamian ideas, Lilithtu were monsters who fed on humans and children, and that's where we can see Lilith's reputation as a really evil and monstrous individual. However, today I am having a different perspective about that. I believe that Lilith's purpose in the old religions was to act as their cleanser. She represented the force of destruction when every single person who was in the life of the child who was killed removed them and just left the responsibility. Why do I say that? The responsibility that many adults had for children is very much the most important part of your life. You should have responsibility and you should care for the children that you're having. However, even in old times, there were people who would just leave their responsibility on other people. And most of the time in old times, there were deaths that happened because the environment, the world was really harsh. So that's how I personally think that Lilith's portrayal mattered, because she represented the force of foolishness. She was the one who would take the children if the parents were stupid, basically. And in those times, there were a lot of stillbirths and there were a lot of deaths in the part of the mothers as well when they were giving a child. So why do we think Lilith as an evil person then? Well, if we go further now, and after the Mesopotamian ideas, we now see Lilith as an entity who is not much more well known. She's just a demon. However, when we work and go through the Abrahamic pantheon, we see that various Jewish professors and writers have given name of Lilith as the first wife of Adam. Why we know that is that in the first Genesis, we see that God has created man and his wife together, man and woman, in his shape, in his form, in his image. And that is a question many people have, that if God created humans, if there was already a man and a woman, then where did Eve come from? So that was what the idea had in mind. Lilith was the first wife of Adam, who refused to submit to him, and then she left the Garden of Eden, and when she was attacked by angels sent to destroy her, she said that she would kill every single child on the day of childbirth for all eternity until it had the names of the three angels on them. So, why does this matter? Because Lilith's force never changed. She was first the demon who fed on children, and then it only changed the perspective and the narrative, nothing more. Now we see in our modern life that Lilith has changed her appearance in a lot of ways, because after that the various interesting thing happened. Lilith was considered one of the sacred angels of prostitution, who was wife of Samael. Samael in many cultures and many sects of Judaism was seen as Satan himself. And Samael was seen as an evil entity and a good entity, and sometimes most common depiction was of him working God's plan, and he was immoral. And Lilith in turn was seen as not an evil figure, but a figure who must be respected and feared. She was not God, however she had her own problems. She would not kill you unless she had a reason to. Or you could say that she wanted to kill you, but unless she had a reason to, she would do that. Okay, so let's go a little bit further now with the Qliphoth. So where does her place lie in the Qliphoth? So Lilith has an interesting name. Her name is seen as the abomination, and in the first form, in the tree of life Kabbalah, there is an opposite called the tree of death, which is sometimes seen as a roots or sometimes seen as a shells. This is Kabbalah, the tree of life is Sephiroth, and this, the shadow, is the shells, the Qliphoth. And as you can see there, if you have visualize that these fingers on two of my palms are just two different trees. The left is a Qliphoth, right is the Sephiroth. However, you can see that there are points where they both connect. This is seen as Dath, the connecting abyss that connects the tree of life and the tree of death. So Lilith in the bottom, the first spear that we see in Qliphoth, or let's say the Sephiroth, the first spear is called the spear of earth. The first spear is Malkuth, the kingdom. However, then when we see it, it changes a bit. In Qliphoth, there is no Malkuth. There is a spear of the black earth named Lilith, and the name means abomination or obsession in certain sects. How does that matter? In my own personal workings, I was given another name, which I have given in my Patreon, which you should follow, by the way. It's just a simple self plug. If you follow my Patreon, I have a really good offerings. One of my best tier is my $15 one, which comes to less than 50 cents a day. Like, I think I give much more value than that in there. And there I have been uploading the files for the entire simulation and the summonations that we need to do to gain access to Lilith and to the other worlds that we have connecting to the Qliphoth. So let's go through that. The name I was given is the Old English word for divine obsession, and that obsession relates to Lilith's personality as a goddess and a destroyer. She is also connected to Nama, the queen of Lilith, the spear, and it is said that in many sects that they are connected. And why does that matter even then? What matters is that when we seek the answers, we find out that the Qliphoth itself is just the tree of life. Both are connected, both are one. And when we work above it, when from earth we go to moon, there we see Lilith. There is a spear named Gamaliel. Gamaliel is a spear of mental fortitude. In the Qliphoth, the spear of Gamaliel is ruled by Lilith herself, and it is called the polluted ones. Why do you mean the polluted ones? The spear Gamaliel is seen as the world where all the abominations Lilith and Babylon gives birth to collect in the end, and then Gamaliel is a place where every single black magical creation of early and smaller demons who are no more useful than just as fodder appear. In many texts that I've seen and read, the Gamaliel spear is seen as a really different kind of spear. It is given really good amount of attention, however it is not much more fleshed out because of the simple fact that it does not present much of the things which other spheres would have. However, in modern left-hand path theory and workings, we see that Gamaliel is a really important spear, because when we see in Asmat Mason's work, for example, the Gamaliel is seen as a really impactful force of chaotic night side. If you would ask me, I would say that Gamaliel is the brain of the female dragon, the chaos which gives birth to life. And that's how I believe it should be. So how does that refer to Lilith herself? Lilith is a really important entity because she controls the mind. The words Gamaliel, the realm, connects to your crown chakra. And the crown chakra refers to your clear audience and your senses, basically, the astral senses. While the third eye focuses on your sight, astral sight, the crown chakra refers to all of your other senses, like sensing an entity's energy, hearing them. These are things. Although most of the time, clear audience is the thing that most people connect with Gamaliel. And emotions as well, because the black moon refers to also emotions. And when we go through Gamaliel and Qliphothic initiations, we see that changing our emotions and working on them can help with us improving our daily life as a magician, and it gives us more power. And that's why many magicians, including me, prefer to evoke the Qliphothic spears themselves and the powers of Lilith herself to give us more empowerment in certain things. And that is how Lilith's attribution to Qliphoth ends, because she is not given much more attention. However, then we go to the modern left-hand path and Wiccan traditions. In various traditions like the modern left-hand path and Qliphothic and you can say the kind of neo-satanistic organizations or the offshoots of satanic neo-Nazism, like the O9A, there are a lot of offshoots from that who also worship Lilith. So Lilith is seen there as a dark mother, a primordial goddess herself. She has a spider aspect and is seen as a really powerful force of rebellion and chaos. However, I disagree with it in a certain sense, because Lilith is, while a motherly figure, she is also a sister to me. Lilith can appear as anything for anyone, but you must first go through her and let her choose her form for you. And that's how you would have to know, because if you evoke her thinking about that she will be a really cute demon girl with a lingerie, you might get that affiliation, but it can also backfire if she wants, and she can think that you are too much of a pervert and then might transform into her spider aspect, which is traumatizing. Let's go further from that. And so you can see that various traditions think of her as a motherly figure. She is seen as a token demoness that every black magician works with, and that's how her affiliation ends. However, in my own personal workings, Lilith is a really impactful force. As a spirit, she can transform you mentally. Your psychic senses can be improved drastically. She can give you assistance with connecting to your into femininity, which is lost to most men who try to get into the Qliphothic initiations. So that's also something that you need to keep in mind of. Just connect your masculine and your feminine and bind it together into the middle pillar, and that is the thing that you need. Just have a balance. That is what I ask of you, and that is what most demons ask of you as well. So the next thing with Lilith can also help you in tune with your other chakras, like your third eye as well as your sacral or root chakra. She is sexual, that I will tell. She has to be, because after years of creating a false image, she also has a sexual aspect. But instead of taking advantage of that, and instead of doing things which I would not personally accept, and while most people have sexual interactions with entities, most of the time I believe we need to keep that before because before we know an entity, we cannot do those things, because if we first evoke an entity and then have sex or do some kind of other aspect or other exercises, I'm trying to keep it very calm, and then it might cause us troubles, because if we do that, then we might see that various entities can take our energies. And sometimes it happens that people think that, oh, I'm summoning this entity and it cannot take my energy, and then what happens, they have sex and then boom, their energy is gone. So what should you do if you want to evoke Lilith? I have a manual ready, you need to just comment down. And if you want to evoke her using any other tradition, you can use tradition chants to evoke Gamaliel, the spear, and go through that. Or you can just have you have to search for really good links and texts for summoning her, because most of the older texts revolve around a sexual aspect, and many of the modern traditions and texts also sometimes focus on her motherly aspect. So you need to have a balance. I try to seek her primordial aspect, which is also connected to Azazel. Azazel is a demoness in the Persian religion, Zoroastrianism. In Zoroastrianism, there is Ahriman. Ahriman, the evil incarnate, is seen as the force of chaos and death. He is the Satan of Zoroastrianism, Ahura Mazda's enemy. And Azazel is seen as the whore. Her name literally translates to the whore. And she's seen as his consort and the filthy woman who cursed woman actually with menstruation. And we know why that sounds, because menstruation has to be a part of demons, because why would menstruation be needed? Sexuality is obviously just for men. I don't want to talk much about that, because it is crazy how people can think that such things are normal. So let's talk about some simple facts about Lilith, which many people don't know, and there are many misconceptions about that. Lilith can be evoked by men, or Lilith cannot be evoked or have good relationships with Lilith if you are a man. That's false. I am a dude, really. And I have summoned Lilith, I have worked with her, I have worked with her sisters, and most of them are really appreciative of me. And the funny thing is that many people think that just because of that, Lilith is just reserved for women and she's really weird. No. If you cannot be really respectful of any entity that you're calling, then you should not call them. I have seen people who are summoning entities by calling on and threatening them, and then they are questioning why the spirits are hurting them. Let's go further than that and say that you summon Lilith and you work with her. Does she hurt you? Does she cause problems with you? Yeah, she will initiate trials in your life. However, just respect her. Call her your sister, your mother, your wife, anything you want to call her. She needs to have a relationship with you. You need to have a relationship with her. For me, Lilith is my elder sister. She is the woman who gave me answers to most of my things. She and Nama are like my sisters who help me with most of my things. When I need something, I need to trust someone, I call on Lilith, because Lilith is really trustworthy, at least to me. Because I have not evoked her and asked for sex, or I did not hurt her, or I tried to be respectful when I summoned her. If you walk through the Qliphoth and want answers to her, then you need to just go through that and then sense her, and she will give you a lot of answers about herself. So, what about Lilith? How does her role affect anyone in modern Satanism? Lilith is a really primordial figure, because she is really as old as civilization. And if you want to evoke a really old primal entity and you're just starting out and you are afraid that what will happen, then you should go for Lilith, because Lilith is a really important figure in modern Satanism, and she is as old, so her energies can help you connect into the primordial Shakti, or the primordial energy of chaos. She is like Tiamat, but a more friendly figure, I would say. And if you want to work with her, then be calm, be respectful, do not hurt or attack her. That is what I would say. So basically those were all the information I had and I wanted to share about Lilith on my YouTube channel. So just tell me how you think about this setup that I have going on here. If you like it or not, I might change it later. This is really, I'm trying to be really professional this time, and I might have a little bit of info on Lilith in my notes right now, so I might see. Just wait me a second. Yeah, these are some of my reflections on Gamaliel. So Gamaliel tells of darkness of the sun being reflected back on man. It's a dark moon that gives powers to werewolves and vampires. The darkness is yet accompanied by light, as the dragon's womb yet tells the story of the birth of Christ. Gamaliel is a womb of magic where the initiate gains the idea of where the path will take, and it allows for the magic to start opening and the rapturous fluid of sex empowering the witch. Here we see that Lilith and Samael take the form of the primordial couple of power in the spear, the same as Shiva and Kali, and Tiamat and Apsu. As the first spirit tells of obsession and destruction, Yesod speaks of the power of sexuality and magic of the mind. Yet the dark twin of it, Gamaliel, is a pollution of such ideas. Losing a control of sexual gratification and then being in spiral of doom kills the unsuspecting initiate. Gamaliel speaks of utilizing the power and having the perfect middle of sexuality which is needed. Not to repress, but also not to let it go. Meaning, you should not just let your energies go haywire and then fuck everybody. And you should not also repress all your sexual emotions. Just be yourself and be calm. That is what Lilith and all the demons ask of you. Just be humble, just be useful, and that's what you will need to successfully evoke and be much more useful in your magical endeavors, and you will be successful more. So that was what I had for this little video. If you are right now here, then please, I would suggest you to go to my Patreon, go and take one of my tiers, because I will be sharing most of my information for the tier on my Patreon's middle tier, which is $15 a month. It's just barely 50 cents a day, so I don't know why it's less than $1. If you can, then it would really mean a lot to me, because that would help me keep this content out and I would be able to work harder now. So that's it, guys. So thank you, really, I appreciate this. Thank you for watching. I will be uploading more content, and if you have joined my Patreon, then I will be uploading the initiation and evocation to Lilith soon, so be careful. I will see you guys later. Goodbye, have a great day, and take care.